What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode number 61 today of the My Player Career Mode. In this episode, we've got 4 games to come, including a double-leg semi-final against Girona to see if Real Madrid will be able to get to themselves their first final with Ben in the side of the Copa de España. So that's all to come. Also, we have some outgoings in the transfer window, we have some incomings, and we have a few players potentially looking at their future for next season ahead of that. So we'll see what happens in today's episode. But for now, we're about to embark on our first game, and it will be a La Liga appearance up against Valencia. You can see they were sat, I think, 7th going into this one, so not the highest possible place for them to be. But for Real Madrid, they're still 2 points clear of Barca and still have to try and keep up what they were doing already in order to try and keep that little bit of a gap they currently hold. So we'll see how it's going to fare today for them. But, of course, their side is pretty strong. You know, it's still the strongest one they've got available to them. There's arguable cases for some people on the bench. You know, Kovacic, for example, could possibly replace Llorente if you wanted to do that. But for now, it's still a strong squad, and it's still a squad that should be able to get a result here against Valencia. Now, in the first minute of the game, Real Madrid, for some reason, just turned it on, and already here you can see, this is lovely play, by the way. There's a lot of one-touch passes here, and when Ben finds an over-the-top through ball to Zednan Shaqiri, there's questionable goalkeeping in this, very, very questionable, but you can take nothing away from the move, because that was absolutely brilliant. There was a nice bit of passing play. I think there was 6 passes involved there up until the finish from Shaqiri, and a few of those were one-touch as well. It seemed like it just all stopped for Valencia. They just couldn't get near Real Madrid, and they just didn't know what was going to happen. So Shaqiri eventually beats the goalkeeper. Again, it's just questionable goalkeeping, because you look at it there. Should he be getting his near post like that? No, he should not. He should not ever get beaten at his near post unless it's a rocket of a shot. And let's face it, that from Shaqiri wasn't exactly world class, was it? But regardless, he gives Real Madrid the lead, and they take it inside 5 minutes of game number 1. However, when you're playing in this game and you're looking at it and thinking, well, if one team started off to an absolute flyer, I wonder what the other team have in store. And when Sanabria gets through here 11 minutes in, it's just so clumsy from Sergio Ramos. You can see he gets into the area, and Ramos just basically walks into him, takes him out, and Valencia have a spot kick with 11 minutes on the clock. So Real Madrid taking the lead inside 5, and they potentially could be back all square within 6 after they took the lead. So it is going to be Soler standing up and taking this one for the home side up against Rico. And unfortunately, he sends the Madrid goalkeeper the wrong way and puts the score back to 1-1. So for Valencia, it's great for them to get back on level terms, but for Madrid, it was a stupid way to concede. Ramos, you know, he's experienced. He's got bags of experience. So for him to make a challenge like that and be really clumsy, it's not something you would expect from him. So very disappointed with him and his defensive kind of effort there. But again, you can take nothing away from the spot kick. He sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. He did everything he needed to do in order to score that for the home side. So it's 1-1. We basically may as well have just started again from 0-0, because there's only been 10 minutes in the game. It's as if we're just starting from kickoff yet again. Great penalty, and this is shaping up to be a pretty decent first game of today's episode. So let's see what happens when the game gets back underway here. Aubameyang setting it underway, and you can see 20 minutes on the clock. Really interesting decision there from the referee to not give a free kick, but then Ben just does the rest. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness me. As I said, look, it could have quite easily been given as a free kick here. You can see it from this angle in a moment's time. There is arguably 2 fouls here on the Valencia player. None of them given, but then you can take nothing away from Ben, because he picks up the ball, goes on a run, and he knows exactly what he wants to do as soon as he gets it here. Takes 2 touches just to set himself for the second there. It's perfect with the setup, and then you can see when he gets it in this area, Aubameyang's making a run. He could have arguably set Aubameyang through, but he was never, ever going to do that when he's in like that. What a strike it was. Again, though, should the referee have blown for a free kick? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, because I arguably say that that could have quite easily been given as a free kick. You know, there was contact made on the defender. Whether or not it was minimal or whether or not we impeded him, we'll have to wait and you know, kind of see. But for now, it is 2-1, and as we move into the second half, Ben on the ball yet again here, looks to find his teammate down the right-hand side. It is trying to find Shaqiri this time. Ends up going all the way backwards here. And for some reason, none of the players react quick enough, but Ben does do the business. He reacts in the middle of the box, holds his run eventually as Aubameyang wins the knockdown. I really hate this camera angle. I've said it before, and I keep saying it. I really don't know why they stop it like this, just to take a look. Like, come on, man. You can barely see anything when you get these camera angles sometimes, but that one's not too bad. It's just I would have preferred to have seen it in normal time again. So, Ben reacting quickest. It's his second of the afternoon. And for Valencia, initially they did well defensively, but then after that, it was just shocking from them. As we move to the last 8 minutes of the game, it's pretty much out of Valencia's reach at this stage now. But you can bet your bottom dollar that if Ben's on a hat-trick, he's going to look for it. Now, this goal, again, questionable goalkeeping. Those two words are going to pop up. And yet again, we get this camera angle, which I don't like. But originally, I thought this had actually taken a deflection, and that might be why the goalkeeper was beaten by it. You can see, though, when you watch from this angle, it actually doesn't take a deflection. I have no idea what the goalkeeper's dive is, because that is just, yeah, absolutely shocking. If you take another look at it, oh my goodness me, he like jumps upwards rather than to the side. But for Ben, he's on the score sheet, he's got 3 goals, he's taken the match ball home. And you have to say, the first goal that he scored was the pick of the bunch. What a strike it was to get Real Madrid back the lead in the game. He was part of all 4 goals in that one. So, again, you know, a massive performance from him. And it's good to see when you've got a semi-final of the Copa de España just about to come up right now. But, as I said earlier, there is some outgoings and some incomings into the side. We'll check that out right now for you all to look at. And also, there's some players maybe debating their future ahead of next year. So, the first kind of big major news, I guess you could say, was that Eric Bailly has now signed for Real Madrid. He's gone for £74 million, or 73.9. He joins from Everton. I mean, I don't really know exactly, you know, how that's going to pan out, because he's a good defender, and he's very, very good. But if he was playing at Everton, there's a certain kind of question mark around him. Maybe he's had a good few years at Everton. That might be why he's of course, joined us here at Real Madrid. But I don't know. I was just surprised to see him playing at Everton before, of course, he came to Real Madrid here now. I thought he would still be at Manchester United. But then I checked out why the signing of Eric Bailly had come into play, because I was thinking, you know, they've already got some incredible players. And then take a look at this. Rafael Varane has joined Manchester United. You can see there, I don't exactly know for how much he has joined Manchester United, but he has gone to Manchester. So it is a disappointing thing, because he's one of the better defenders at the club. But at the end of the day, if he wants to go, he wants to go. And I'm imagining that the fee they got was a hefty amount of money, considering the fact that they went out and splashed another 70-odd million quid on Eric Bailly. So, yeah, it must have been fairly expensive, the signing of Varane. He was 91 rated after all. So for United, it wouldn't have been a cheap signing. But for us, it's disappointing to lose a defender of his caliber. We've got one back in Eric Bailly. He's not quite as good, of course, but he'll still be able to do a good job for us. So, moving into the second game now, guys, and it is arguably one of the more important ones of today's episode. Leg 1 of the semi-final up against Girona. And this one is going to be interesting, because last year we played against Villarreal, and in the first leg of that one, Real Madrid fell to a 2-0 defeat. They weren't good against Villarreal. So, there's every chance that for this other semi-final here, Girona will step up and they'll play, you know, better than they probably will do again this season, just because it is a semi-final. And that's one thing you've got to remember about semis. Even though you might have an underdog team, because of the caliber of the game, there's always going to be a situation where they'll step up and play very well. Now, interestingly enough, they've actually got Phil Jones in the side here, Girona. They're playing a 5 at the back with Phil Jones in the side. So, another English import for another Spanish team. Let's see if it's going to work out for them. The first chance of this one fell 26 minutes in, when Aguero found its way through backwards to Casemiro, finds it to Ben. Ben on the ball, looks back for Aguero, gets a 1-2 off with him, finding Rashford. Lovely play to set the Englishman through, but he couldn't finish at the near post. And that's better goalkeeping than what we saw in game number 1 from the Valencia goalkeeper. Into, though, Girona's first chance of the game. 32 minutes in, Timor here, turning Ben. Really good play. Finds Porto. Porto to Marino. Marino, great touch. Finding back to Porto. And he was inches away from giving Girona the lead in this semi-final. What a strike that was. Unfortunately, though, for the home side, it came back off the post. Now, in the 68th minute, Ben doing his defensive work like he likes to do occasionally, gives it to Aguero. This is really questionable, you know, decision-making from Aguero. Why he turns backwards there, I'm not quite sure. But in the end, I had to shut my mouth because it worked out wonderfully for them. He fed Ben, who takes it first time on that left foot of his, curling it into the top corner, and he gives Real Madrid the lead in the semi-final of the Copa de España. Looking to reach that final for the first time in his Madrid career, and he might be the man that's just sent them through with that goal there. Of course, there is a second leg to play, so regardless of this outcome right now, there is still a chance of a redemption for either side, whoever comes out on top here in that second leg. It could end a draw here as well, remember, so, you know, it could all be all square heading into that second leg. But as soon as you got the game back underway, you can see 71 minutes into it, Girona, pretty much an instant reply here. I saw the man over. I don't know what on earth is happening with Real Madrid's defence there. There were 3 players over on the left-hand side of the pitch marking 2 men. I was outraged. I sat there and I couldn't believe what I just saw. Like, I can't even blame the right back. I really can't even blame the right back for this goal because he has no choice but to go over. Look at this. You see there, why on earth is there 3 players stood near 2 of their players? It means the right back has to go over to the other player in the middle there, which leaves the man over on this left-hand side. And, I mean, to be fair to him, he's got a lot to do when he gets the ball. And that is sensational, that volley right there. So, I have to admit, that was a great goal to concede. The only issue was that we did concede it. And Ramalho here, or however you say it, has given him a equalising goal. So, it's 1-1 with Girona. And Madrid, even after Ben had given the away side the lead. And then it got worse for Real Madrid, giving the ball away in an area where they just did not need to do it. Caught on the counter. Porto missed one earlier on by hitting the post. Makes no mistake with the second. 5 minutes to go, or just under 5 minutes to go. I'm getting a strange sense of deja vu from last year. Oh my goodness me. Villarreal, they won 2-0 in the opening leg of last year's semi-final with Real Madrid, and they didn't have enough to bring it back. It ended 2-1 on aggregate overall last year. And it just so happens a strange sense of deja vu is here again because it's 2-1 to Girona, and they are taking away the advantage from leg 1 into leg 2. So, I mean, for Real Madrid, they need a massive performance in that second leg. Anything less than a big performance, and they're out of the Copa de España. So, Ben, you can see that it's maybe not going to be his year this year, depending on if he can get that result later on. But, I mean, when you look at it that way, and you see you've got Atletico Madrid to come now, I don't think that he was really looking at this game. I think it was more about just trying to focus ahead of that second leg, because to go out twice in a row, Real Madrid, in 2 consecutive years in the semi-final, and this one would be detrimental to them because they have a really good chance if they get through this second leg semi-final to actually win it, the entire competition. You know, it'll be frustrating for Ben because that's all he's got to win. You know, he's only got to win a Copa de España. Then he's done everything in Spain pretty much, barring the Supercopa. So for him, it's a little bit of a, I guess, disappointment if he goes out in the next round. In fact, did they play in the Supercopa in the first season that Ben was here? I think they did actually, so I might be wrong there. But I definitely know he hasn't won a Copa de España. So if they get knocked out now, that probably will teeter Ben over the edge and make him maybe handing a transfer request and say, look, I want to leave the club. So we'll see anyways, guys. But you can see we're moving into the next game. It's the third one of today's episode. It's Atletico Madrid. It's the Madrid derby. Back at it again with another Madrid derby. This side, though, from Atletico Madrid, barring Andone up front and barring 1 or 2 midfielders, is a very, very strong one indeed. Still got Griezmann. They could have partnered Griezmann with another better striker. Maybe they would be challenging very, very well for the title. They're still third, but they're a few points behind. And Ben had the first chance of this one. You can see there with a header, and he headed it straight down into the keeper's hands, which shows why he doesn't really score many headers in his career. And as we move into the 33rd minute, lovely play from these guys here finds its way to Aubameyang. Ben with the assist, Aubameyang with a finish. It's Real Madrid 1. Atletico Madrid 0 in this Madrid derby, and that is the best way to come back from a miss from Ben. You can see Aubameyang, whether or not he knew much about what he was trying to do here, you can see he gets through, he takes it first time, nice and early past the goalkeeper. That's something that a lot of players do in order to catch the goalkeeper out. That might have been what actually beat the goalkeeper, to be fair, when the fact that he did take it nice and early. However, it was, again, not great goalkeeping. We haven't seen a fantastic display of goalkeeping today, to be fair, and that's something that I'm going to make sure happens for next episode. I'll probably bump it up to like 70 or something like that for the goalkeepers, so that way we're having a bit more of a tough time in scoring goals, to be fair. But for now, it is Real Madrid 1, Atletico Madrid 0. 53 minutes on the clock as we move into the second half. This is absolutely brilliant play. Unfortunately, though, he gave it away to Ben, gets it back, and then he takes a way too big touch straight to the hands of Jan Oblak, who first time didn't get the ball in his hands, but second time does just that. And then deciding to continue on with this play, you can see 56 minutes in, Ben on the ball, looks to find the pass out wide, gives it away, decides he's going to go on a mental run to try and get it back, takes out his man there. And for some reason, he was actually given a +1 for side tackling. So that means he must have actually connected with the ball. The referee gives the free kick. Ben is then substituted off to make sure he doesn't get sent off. And that will be the last contribution to the game that he makes. But Real Madrid with still a job to do, of course. Ben with one eye on that second leg. Maybe that's why he was substituted, as Aubameyang goes close here to finding a second goal for himself. Looks to chip Jan Oblak this time. But unfortunately, he wasn't accurate with his chip. He gives the goalkeeper the eyes, but he made himself, or he put himself off as well, because he doesn't even find the target. So, last 13 minutes of this one with Atletico Madrid searching for an equaliser. It's a corner ball with Griezmann stood over this one. He's going to whip a decent ball in towards the middle. It gets brought down to Koulibaly, of all players, and his right-footed volley is inches wide of that bottom corner. If it had gone in, that would have been a fantastic goal from Koulibaly to equalise it up, but unfortunately for them, he didn't. Luckily for Real Madrid, it is 1-0. They've kept the clean sheet, and they will get 3 points in this Madrid derby here today. So, yeah, you can see it wasn't the most entertaining game in terms of match facts. Both sides between them only conjuring up 4 shots on target. So, not the greatest display of shots on target there, but it doesn't matter because Real Madrid do come away with the 3 points. And as I said to you, that's not what Real Madrid were looking at. This is now, I don't want to say it'll make or break their season, but I think for Ben, with the fact that he hasn't won a Copa de España, if they lose here, I think that might be the last contribution that Ben makes in terms of a Copa de España for Real Madrid, because there's arguable cases to if he's going to leave or not. I've seen a lot of people in the comments, saying, is Ben going to leave? Is he going to stay at Real Madrid? A few people want him to stay and become a legend. A few people want him to go and leave the club. Ben's not quite sure what he wants at the moment. Of course, he's won a Champions League now as well. And if he can win a second one with Real Madrid, he will do what his uncle never did, of course, winning 2 Champions League trophies. He still has a chance to win that Champions League with Real Madrid. So we'll see, whether or not Ben is going to decide to commit his future to Real Madrid, or if he feels that his heart is going to go elsewhere. There's still a lot of years left in him, so whatever he decides to do, it's not going to be the end of everything, because he can still have numerous years at a different club if he wants to do that, but maybe he's feeling a little bit homesick. Maybe he wants to go back to the Premier League or something like that. But for now, he's got a job to do here. 28 minutes in, you can see he breaks away from this corner, and this was something that I really liked about him. He kept his composure to beat that man there, but once again, he overruns the play. When he realises he's running into the goalkeeper, he tries to last minute kick it to Aubameyang, but unfortunately, the goalkeeper did quite well. Luckily for him, though, he was allowed a little bit of freedom in this game. He was allowed to push up a bit further, and thankfully it worked because he gets straight through 2 defenders there before unleashing a left-footed strike to the, middle of the goal, I would say. It wasn't really in the top corner, wasn't really in the bottom of the goal, but it was kind of middle of the goal. Doesn't really matter, though, because all that mattered was that Real Madrid got back on level terms, because that now makes it 2-2 on aggregate. And there wasn't a lot of chances in this first half, so that when Ben got that one, he had to take it, and take it he did. What a finish. That's a finish of a striker's quality, that one. So 5 minutes until the break, Real Madrid are back on level terms. I have to say, Girona did kind of come here and just sit back and look to try and defend that aggregate lead, but now it's back all square, so they can't afford to do that. As we move into the second half, you can see good play from Madrid again, keeping hold of the ball, finds its way to Ben. Ben with a nice little cut back. Lovely turn of that defender there. Gets through, finds Aguero. Aguero makes the score 2-0. It's job done now. All they've got to do is defend here against Girona, and they are heading to a Copa de España final with Ben. I spoke earlier about needing a big performance from Real Madrid, and boy, oh boy, did this young man step up. 1 goal for himself and 1 assist in this game, as it was Real Madrid heading towards that final of the Copa de España. Now, interestingly enough, I don't know who they're going to be facing if they do get through, just like I don't know who Girona will face if they get through, because they were actually played the 2 legs of this game here first before they even embarked on the first leg of the other tie that was happening in the semis. So the other sides will know who's reached that final, whereas the 2 sides from today's games will not know until those 2 have been played out. Now, talking about questionable goalkeeping, this happened. I have absolutely no idea what on earth that was, because originally I looked at that and I thought, hang on a minute, what has just happened? Like, I wasn't even fully concentrating on the game at this stage because I was too busy thinking, okay, they're going to clear this away, where do I need to be? And you can see I didn't even close him down. I was not bothered. Ben just decided to just run away from it, thinking he's just going to smash that out. Instead, he gives it back to his goalkeeper, who kind of just slips when he chooses to kick it, and then ends up giving it straight to Marcus Rashford, who just basically heads Real Madrid 3-0 up and into the final. 4-2 in aggregate. Girona digging their own grave. They now have to lie in it because that was absolutely shocking from their goalkeeper. And just like that, what seemed like it could be a disappointing turn of events for Madrid turned into a good one, because after the first leg, they arguably were not good enough and could have quite easily, gone out of this one. Second leg plays out, and all of a sudden they're 3-0 winners and heading through to the final like it was something easy. I mean, I just don't know. But regardless, it is 3-0. It is Ben through to his first Copa de España final. How heartbreaking for him would it be if they ended up going on to lose this? I mean, there's still every chance they could, because, that one is just one game. There is not a second leg to redeem themselves like there was in this semi-final. So if they lose that game there isn't a second chance for Real Madrid. Let's put it that way. So through to the final, you can see, I'm going to show you the league table, guys, and I'll show you how the first leg did end of that other semi-final. You can see Madrid 4 points clear of Barcelona and 9 points clear of Atletico Madrid. And you will check out now the Copa de España. And as I said earlier, I saw a few of you guys handing in a transfer, or wanting Ben to hand in a transfer request. And it just so happens that he has handed in a transfer request. As we end today's episode off, he sent an email to Zidane talking to him saying, boss, I'm not happy at the club at the moment. I feel like my time here may be coming to an end. I just want to be transfer listed and see who might want to come in for me. So there you go. Transfer request handed in. We'll see if it gets accepted within next episode for Ben. I mean, he'll make his decision. He'll explain his decision next episode as well, Ben. So don't worry, guys, if there's anything surrounding that. But for now, that is how today's episode ends. If you did enjoy it, a like would greatly appreciated. As always, guys, thank you for your continued support. Really appreciate it. I will see you all again at 4 p.m. UK time for yet another video tomorrow, guys. Catch you all then. Adios.